Story 1. The gravel crunches under my boots as I step out of the cab, the only sound breaking the dead quiet on this stretch of the Trans-Canada Highway. I've just rolled past Golden, that speck of a town clinging to the edge of the Rockies, and the darkness hits like a wall, thick, inky black where the mountains swallow every scrap of moonlight. My bladder's screaming after hours behind the wheel, hauling lumber from Calgary to Vancouver, and the last rest area slipped by in the haze of fatigue. No big deal. The road's empty, not a single set of headlights piercing the void for miles. I unzip, stare out into the wall of pines lining the shoulder, and let the cold mountain air bite at my neck. It's the kind of night that makes a man feel small, like the wilderness is watching, waiting for you to slip up. I shake off, zip up, and fish a smoke from my jacket pocket. The lighter flares orange, casting jittery shadows on the rig's door, and I lean against the fender, drawing deep. The cherry glows like a lone ember in hell. That's when I see it, a flicker of movement in the tree line, maybe 50 yards off. At first, it's nothing, just the wind teasing branches or my eyes playing tricks after too many hours on blacktop. But then the shape solidifies. Tall, upright, deliberate. Not a deer. Not a bear, thank Christ. I've dodged enough grizzlies up here to know their shuffle. This is a man, stepping out of the underbrush like he's been spat out by the forest itself. My pulse kicks up, but I play it cool. Miles from anywhere, cell signal dropping to bars thinner than a whisper, and no traffic to flag down. I flick the cigarette to the ground, grind it under my heel, and ease back toward the driver's door. The keys already in the ignition, engine idling low like a growl. I slide in, lock the doors with a solid thunk that echoes in my chest, and keep my eyes glued to the side mirror. He's closer now, weaving through the scrub, his outline sharpening against the faint glow of my parking lights. Jeans, flannel shirt, boots caked in mud, like any other guy who'd wandered off the trail. But out here, in the dead of night on Highway 1, where the next turnoff's a ghost town called Rogers Pass. No sane soul hikes these woods after dark. I rev the engine just a hair, foot hovering over the pedal, ready to punch it and leave him in the dust. But something holds me. Curiosity, maybe. Or that old trucker code, you don't leave a man looking that lost. He's at the passenger side now, face pale under a weak stubble, eyes hollow like he stared down the devil and blinked. He raps on the window with knuckles that look raw, scraped from branches or worse. I crack it an inch, the cold rushing in like a slap. You all right? I mutter, keeping my voice steady, hand on the gear shift. He leans in, breath fogging the glass, voice low and cracked like dry timber. I need you to call the cops. Please. My gut twists. Why? You hurt? Car breakdown. He shakes his head, slow, like the motion costs him. Went out there. He jerks a thumb at the trees, voice dropping to a rasp. To end it, kitchen knife in my pack. Got as far as the clearing, blade to my wrist, and my girls. Their faces hit me like a freight train. Smiling at breakfast last week, asking for stories about the mountains. I couldn't. Dropped it and ran back to the road. But I'm done wandering. Need help before I change my mind. The words hang there, heavy as the fog rolling off the Columbia River Valley. I glance at his hand, clenched around the strap of a faded backpack, no knife in sight, but I spot the bulge in the side pocket, handle peeking like a guilty secret. My mind races, reports I've heard on the CB about suicide by truck up here, desperate folks stepping into the lane, forcing the issue. Is this guy one wrong word from turning on me? Or himself? Patchy signal be damned. I fumble for my phone, dial 911, and relay the spot. Mile marker 80, eastbound, pull out by the avalanche gate. Man in distress, I say. Suicidal. No weapons out, but hurry. He slumps against the door, quiet sobs muffled through the glass, shoulders shaking like he's purging years of rot. I talk him through it, low and even, stuff from my own dark halls, losing a buddy to the bottle back in '98, the way the road chews you up if you let it. Your girls need you breathing, I say. Mountains don't give a damn about regrets, but they do about second chances. He nods, wipes his face on his sleeve, and for a second, I think maybe I've reached him. The cops' lights flicker in the distance, blues cutting the black like salvation. They pull up fast. 2 cruisers from the RCMP detachment in Revelstoke, lights painting the pines in strobes. The officers step out, hands loose but ready, and I pop my door, meeting them halfway. He's solid, I tell the lead guy, a stocky sergeant with a mustache like steel wool. Just needs a ride to the crisis center. Knife's in the bag, told him to leave it grounded. They nod, cuff him gentle for transport, and load him in the back. As they gear up to roll, he twists in the seat, locks eyes with me through the window. Thanks, man. Name's Harlan. Oh, you. I clap the doorframe, throat tight. Get straight, Harlan. For them. The cruisers peel off, taillights fading into the murk, leaving me with the hum of my idling diesel and the stink of adrenaline sweat. I climb back in, hands still trembling on the wheel, and gun it east. The road unwinds like a bad dream, curves hugging sheer drops into ravines where the wind howls eternal. Dawn's hours away, and the Rockies loom silent, indifferent. I try not to dwell, but Harlan's face sticks, those hollow eyes, the knife's shadow. I make Vancouver by noon, drop the load, and hit a diner off the I-5 for coffee black as sin. That's when I pull out my phone, signal strong now, and search his name on a whim. Harlan Whitaker. Pops up in seconds. Local logger from Golden, divorced, 2 daughters, 8 and 11. Front page local news from 3 months back. A custody fight turned ugly, ex accusing him of instability after a string of no-shows at pickups. Comments below the article are a sewer, deadbeat dad, should have ended it sooner. No wonder the woods called. Relief hits, mixed with that sour trucker guilt. What if I'd peeled out? Left him to the blade or the bears? I scroll deeper, hunting for updates, and freeze. A forum thread from a trucker board, time-stamped last week, heard from a buddy in Revelstoke. Guy pulled over on one, saved some logger from offing himself. Cops got him to the psych ward in Kamloops. But get this, Harlan's ex filed a restraining order that same night. Turns out, she knew he was spiraling, even tipped off a buddy to tail him into the trees. Wanted him caught in the act, use it in court to yank the girls for good. My coffee turns to ash in my mouth. She'd played him like bait, knowing the Rockies' isolation would push him over. And me? Just the unwitting hook. I think of his sobs, the raw gratitude in his voice, and wonder if he's piecing it together in that sterile room. The road's full of ghosts, brothers. Men who vanish into the dark, chasing ends that aren't theirs. Harlan's out there somewhere, fighting for air. I hope he claws back. But every mile marker on that highway now feels like a scar, whispering what if. And out here, alone with the engine's drone, that's the real knife in the gut. Story 2. The old Kenworth's engine rumbles like a beast with a bellyache, hauling a 100,000-pound Caterpillar D9 bulldozer on a drop trailer that's seen more winters than I care to count. I'm on a state route in northern Pennsylvania, cutting through the Allegheny foothills, the kind of road where the asphalt's cracked like old leather and the pines loom so close they seem to lean in, whispering. It's late afternoon January, the sky a bruised gray spitting flurries that stick to the windshield. My CB's been fritzing all day, picking up static and half-words, but I'm used to it. Just another run, delivering the dozer to a quarry in Clarion County. Check the straps, keep the revs low, get it there before dark. Simple. The road dips and twists, each curve a gamble with the weight I'm pulling. I'm coming up on a bad stretch near Tionesta, where Route 36 drops into a valley and hits a stoplight at the base of a steep hill. Locals call it Dead Man's Drop, for a reason. You crest the ridge, and the intersection sneaks up like a trap. You've got room to stop if you're paying attention, but the hill's a bastard, especially in winter when ice patches hide like landmines. My tires hum, the trailer swaying just enough to remind me it's got a mind of its own. I'm chewing a toothpick, trying to stay sharp, when the CB crackles to life. Slow down. Accident. Hill. Stop. A voice, frantic, cuts through the static, but it's garbled, like the guys shouting through a storm. I catch maybe one word in three. My antenna half fried from a low branch I clipped 2 runs ago. Instinct kicks in, and I ease off the gas as I crest the hill, eyes scanning the road ahead. The stoplight's red, glowing like a demon's eye, but that's not what stops my heart. Halfway down the slope, a snarl of crumpled metal blocks the intersection. A pickup truck T-boned a sedan, glass and plastic strewn across the pavement like confetti. No cops, no EMTs, just a mess of stopped cars, their drivers gawking or yelling. Traffic's backed up, clogging both lanes almost to the ridge. I'm rolling at 30 miles per hour, too fast for the 200 yards I've got left. The load behind me groans, 50 tons of steel itching to keep moving. I downshift hard, the gearbox grinding like a dying animal, and jam the brake pedal. The tires bite, then slip, hitting black ice hidden under a dusting of snow. The cab jerks left, a sickening lurch, and I hear the fifth wheel clank, a sound that makes every trucker's blood run cold. I glance at the driver's side mirror. Nothing but road. No trailer, no dozer. My stomach drops like I'm in free fall. I whip my head to the passenger mirror, and there it is. The entire side of the trailer, jackknifed at a 45-degree angle, the D9's yellow bulk tilting like it's ready to roll off and crush everything. I've fucked up. Let the trailer swing out on the ice, and now it's dragging the tractor like a dog with a bone. The intersection's rushing closer, packed with cars, families, commuters, kids in booster seats. My mind screams. This is it. This is how I kill a dozen people. I lay on the horn, a desperate wail, and wrestle the wheel, but it's like steering a landslide. The tires screech, a deep, guttural howl as they burn against the ice, and I see people leaping from their cars, running, their faces pale with terror as 100,000 pounds of death barrels down. The truck lurches, slows, then skids to a stop, the trailer jackknifed across both lanes and the breakdown shoulder. I'm 3 feet from the bumper of a silver minivan, close enough to see the driver's wide eyes in her rear view. My hands shake, sweat soaking my flannel, the horn still blaring under my palm. I cut it off, the silence deafening, and slump back, chest heaving. The CB's still spitting static, but I don't hear it. I'm alive. They're alive. Barely. Then the screaming starts, not from me, but the people outside, pointing up the hill. I crane my neck, and my heart seizes again. Another rig's cresting the ridge, a tanker, its chrome nose glinting in the fading light. It's sliding, same as me, tires skidding on the ice, its trailer fishtailing like a whip. My jackknifed rig blocks most of the road, leaving him a sliver of pavement to work with. I don't think. I bolt from the cab, boots slipping as I sprint away, joining the crowd scattering like roaches. The tanker driver's horn blares, a low moan, and I brace for impact, picturing fuel igniting, a fireball swallowing us all. But the tanker stops, parallel to my rig, so close I could touch its fender. The driver's face, pale as death, stares out from the cab, hands locked on the wheel. He's hauling a dry tank, empty, lighter than my load, or he'd have plowed through us like a battering ram. We lock eyes, 2 men who just cheated the Reaper, and I swear I see my own panic mirrored in his face. The CB crackles again, clearer now. Accident at 36 and Pine. Slow it down, boys, slow it down. Some trucker up top must have caught the warning in time, choking traffic to a crawl. Sirens wail in the distance, finally. State troopers and ambulances from Tionesta, too late to stop the chaos but here to clean it up. The crowd's buzzing, some yelling at me, others offering shaky pats on the back, like they know how close we all came to a mass grave. A woman from the minivan, still clutching her keys, asks if I'm okay. I nod, but my legs wobble, and I lean against my rig to keep from collapsing. Later, at a diner off Route 62, coffee trembling in my hands, I piece it together. The accident at the intersection? A local kid, 19, ran the red light, drunk, and slammed into a family sedan. Both survived. Barely. But the real kicker comes from a trooper I overhear at the counter, talking about a third rig that never made it down the hill. Driver heard the CB, pulled over just in time, but his logbook showed he'd been running 15 hours straight, pushing the limit. He'd been hauling fertilizer, ammonium nitrate, the kind that turns a spark into a crater. If he'd crested that hill a minute earlier, behind me and the tanker, no one would have walked away. 20 years later, I still drive, but that hill haunts me. Every icy patch, every bad intersection, I hear that fifth wheel clank, see those faces running from their cars. I check my mirrors twice now, tune the CB like my life depends on it. Dead Man's Drop is still there, waiting, and I know it doesn't forgive mistakes. One wrong move, 5 more miles an hour, a slicker patch of ice, and I'd have been the monster in someone else's nightmare, the trucker who didn't stop in time. Story 3. The hum of the old Freightliner's engine is my only company, slicing through the Upper Peninsula of Michigan on a lonely stretch of M28. I'm hauling a load of industrial presses to a factory in Marquette, running late after a botched install in Sault Ste. Marie. It's well past midnight, no streetlights, no other cars. Just me, the road, and a forest so dense it feels like the trees are closing in. The sky's a starless void, the kind that makes you feel like the world's holding its breath. I'm wired on coffee and adrenaline, pushing to make the delivery before dawn. Somewhere past Senni, where the road cuts through the heart of the Hiawatha National Forest, the truck betrays me. Every light on the dash, oil, battery, check engine, blazes red like a Christmas tree gone wrong. The engine sputters, coughs, and dies, leaving me coasting to a stop on the shoulder. Silence crashes in, heavy and absolute. I try the key, nothing. Not a click. Not a churn. Pitch black swallows the cab, my hazard lights pulsing weak orange into the night. I'm stranded, miles from a gas station or a cell tower, the kind of nowhere that makes a man question his choices. I fumble for my phone, signal barely a whisper, and start dialing. Boss, dispatch, roadside assistance. Nobody picks up at this hour. Finally, I get a gravelly voice from a 24-hour tow service in Munising. 2, maybe 3 hours, he says. Mechanics coming from Newberry. Sit tight. Sit tight. Easy for him to say. I kill the call and lean back, the click-click of the hazards the only sound, like a metronome counting down to nothing. My eyes drift to the windshield, staring into the void, when something moves just beyond the flicker of my lights. A shadow, quick and low, gone before I can blink. I shake it off. Deer, probably. The ups crawling with them. But the hairs on my neck stand up, and I can't shake the feeling I'm being watched. I flick on the high beams, and the light catches 3 wolves, their eyes glowing like embers, tearing into a mangled heap of roadkill. A deer, maybe, its guts splayed across the asphalt. They freeze, head snapping toward me, lips curled in irritation, not fear. I hit the horn, a sharp blast, expecting them to scatter. They don't. Just stare, yellow eyes boring through the glass, like I'm the one trespassing. Uneasy, I cut the beams, plunging the road back into darkness. Better to let them be. The silence settles again, thick as fog. Then it comes, a scream, shrill and human, like a woman's throat being torn out, right behind the truck. Before I can process it, something slams into the passenger side, hard enough to rock the cab on its springs. My heart jackhammers, hands white-knuckling the wheel. I slam every light on, headlights, fogs, the works, and lay on the horn, a desperate wail cutting the night. Mirrors show nothing but black, except for a shadow, big, too fast, darting across the road into the pines. The wolves are gone, their meal abandoned. I've seen enough Nat Geo to know predators don't ditch food unless something bigger's prowling. The brush explodes with noise, snapping branches, crunching logs, like something massive is thrashing just out of sight. I'm scanning mirrors, craning my neck, lights painting the trees in stark white, but I can't see it. The air feels heavy, wrong, like the forest itself is holding a grudge. I'm frozen, gripping the wheel, praying the truck's steel is enough to keep whatever's out there at bay. Minutes drag like hours, the thrashing circling closer, then fading, only to spike again with another scream. Closer now, maybe 50 yards off. My phone's useless, signal dead, and I'm alone with the hazard's relentless clicking. Headlights flicker in my driver's side mirror. A tow truck rolling up slow. Relief hits, but it's short-lived. The mechanic, a wiry guy with a grease-stained jacket, pulls in front, his rig's beams cutting through the dark. As his door cracks open, that scream rips through again, closer, followed by a crash in the brush like a tree just snapped in half. His door slams shut, and my phone buzzes. "What the hell was that?" he barks, voice high and tight. "I don't know," I tell him, "but it's big, and it's pissed. He's spooked worse than me, says he's calling the cops." I don't argue. 2 state troopers roll up 20 minutes later, their SUV's light bar turning the forest into a stadium. They step out, hands on holsters, flashlights sweeping the trees. I climb out of the cab for the first time, legs shaky, the cold biting through my jacket. The mechanic's already under my hood, cursing the wiring, but we all freeze when that scream cuts through again. Fainter now, moving deeper into the woods. The cops exchange a look, one muttering about cougars, but his partner shakes his head. "Ain't no cougars scream like that," he says, voice low. We hear it twice more while the mechanic works, each time farther off, like whatever it is knows it's outnumbered. The truck roars to life just as dawn tints the sky gray. I'm ready to bolt, but the trooper points to the passenger side. There's a dent, basketball-sized, 7 feet up the door, metal crumpled like tinfoil. No claw marks, no blood, just force, raw and deliberate. "Bear, maybe," the cop says, but he doesn't sound convinced. I don't buy it either. Bears don't scream like that, don't move that fast, don't hit that high. The mechanic's done, and I'm rolling to Marquette, checking my mirrors every 10 seconds, the dent burning a hole in my peripheral vision. At the hotel, I dig into local news on my phone, half expecting nothing. But a small article from the Marquette Mining Journal stops me cold. A hiker went missing near Senni 2 weeks back, a 32-year-old woman, last seen on a trail off M28. Search parties found nothing but a shredded backpack, no blood, no body. Locals whispered about old Ojibwe stories, something called the Wendigo, a spirit that hunts the lonely, its scream mimicking human cries to lure prey. I brush it off as folklore, but then I find a trucker forum post from a guy who broke down on the same stretch last year. Same scream, same thrashing, same dent on his rig, same spot, 7 feet up. He swore he saw something in his beams. Tall, gaunt, moving on 2 legs, gone before he could focus. I've driven every back road from Maine to Montana, but M28 at night? Never again. That scream still echoes in my skull, and every time I close my eyes, I see that shadow bolting across the road. Too big, too fast, too wrong. Whatever it wasn't just hungry, it was angry. And I'm damn sure it's still out there, waiting for the next fool to break down in the dark.